I just wanted to show you something. Now, John Chin has done a huge amount of research and a new area that we are uncovering. And when we go on the buyer's trip in a couple of weeks, I'll be going there, and Brendan's coming with me. We'll go and check it out. But we trust John in terms of what he's doing, and really, he's been researching this market for the last 12 months. You must understand that John lives in Orlando. So he scours the whole of America looking at fundamentals, the opportunities, all the great questions we've been asked at the back. Those are the things he's doing constantly in terms of who the partners, is there a rental income, do we have the fundamentals? And can anyone point to where Oklahoma is?
Just above Texas.
Just above Texas. Right down Cloud. You can choose if you want $1 or a rand, basically. But because when John first got hold of me and said he's looking at Oklahoma, I was like, where? Some interesting things about Oklahoma. The population growth is 60% higher than the national average of America. It's got one of the lowest unemployment rates at 4.8%. The national average is about 7.6 at the moment. This is a very interesting thing in terms of affordability. So green is the more affordable properties in the middle of America. The red is the unaffordable. You can see California, Phoenix, Vegas, all around this side. New York up the top there, and a little bit down here towards Miami. But Oklahoma's sitting right there. Interesting enough, you've got Atlanta here, and Memphis is in here as well. Okay, then in terms of affordability, so that is how much people earn in terms of how much it costs. Now, like Brendan said, everything in America is worked on how much is the installment. So when you drive down the road down here in Northcliffe, when they advertise a car, it says 250,000. Am I right or wrong? In America, it will say 4,000 rand a month. That's how they sell everything. So the reason that this is important is that if they're earning a high income and the affordability is really good, can we see that the fundamentals long-term allows for more growth? Yes, no?
Yep. John Chin calls it a soft ceiling. He uses the affordability ratio to measure whether he's got room for the property prices to go up. And then from there, he looks at the other side for a solid floor, but he looks for a soft ceiling.
This graph is, I think, fascinating. And it was during the global financial crisis, and it was the number of properties in America where people were underwater. So that's where their mortgage was higher than the value of their property. And the dark blue is bad, and the light the light blue is not bad. Okay. So you can see here again. Look at the western side, California, Phoenix, Vegas, all this area here, really bad. Up around the northeastern side here, but we're looking at Oklahoma down here, and interesting enough, Atlanta and Memphis are around these areas as well. An article that came out by Forbes in the middle of the recession, it placed Oklahoma as the #1 place to invest because of the fundamentals. It's the second biggest oil producing place in America, although North Dakota is catching it fast. Its GDP growth, there it is there. Again, the green is nearly the best. The best is the blue, and that is North Dakota, sitting right there. The green is there, it's Oklahoma. And then lastly, the composite cost of living. So again, how much does it cost you to actually live? You can see it's very expensive to live in California and New York, and these mid-states. So Oklahoma, Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia are all some of the cheaper areas, which is one of the reasons that there's demand for people wanting to live there. In terms of where, I'm sure, has anyone here been to Oklahoma as an interest? Okay, one person. You can tell us about it, Cloud, because none of us have. But interestingly enough, this is a heat map in terms of wealth, and you can see the most wealthy people live in the north, and then around the western and the northern areas, basically. Is that right or wrong? Cloud, have you been there? Would you agree or disagree?
It was 1981.
So the areas that we're looking at are Edmonds, Piedmont, Yukon, and Mustang. And if I go back to the heat map, you can see it's all in the wealthy areas. So the best areas of town, that's what John Chin was talking about. So currently the opportunities that we have are actually in Piedmont, which is the second best schooling district in the whole of Oklahoma. Edmond is the best, but this is effectively the Santon, this is the Bryanston. I live in Bryanston, I'm allowed to say that. Okay, so just to show you some examples, this is the houses that are new construction. For the gentlemen who didn't like wood, they're all brick. And it just gives you an idea of the type of properties, the plans. This is a 3-bedroom property, so you've got the master, the 2 and 3, and then the open plan living, double garage living area. This here is a 4-bedroom property, and I've got a quick video just to show you what it looks like in terms of the suburb, the neighbourhood. For those who've been to Australia, it reminds me a lot of Australia as well.
People live there.
So again, the plans, you can see there the master bedroom, bedrooms 2, 3, and 4, living area, garage. It's very stock standard in terms of what we're used to here in South Africa as well. And then I don't know if it's worth watching this video. John was just taking a personal video on his iPhone, just in terms of the quality of finishes. But it's all new build construction in terms of what one's looking at. I have no idea why he closed the door at this point.
Any reason to look at any environmental factors in these cities?
Very important. So in Oklahoma, they have tornadoes, and but you have insurance for that. And interestingly enough, if it's costing you $700 a month to have insurance in Atlanta, it costs about $750 in Oklahoma. And if your house gets taken out, you get rebuilt, you get repaid out within 3 weeks. That's why it's brick. That's why it's brick. So what's the story of the little house that got blown away? Wizard of Oz or whatever. But no, it's important. But again, that's where we do a huge amount of due diligence to make sure that most stuff's all covered and that you're protected.
And one of the questions they asked was of the big insurance companies was how fast do they pay out? Because it's one thing saying, oh yeah, you do have insurance and we do pay out and everything, but then you sit with a vacant house that's been blown down and you wait a year for your money. So they pay out within 2 to 3 weeks. That's the average at the moment, and they just had a tornado over there. I think about 10,000 people are displaced, so we've got tenant demand.
So this just gives you an idea of the type of properties. Again, we've got all the cash flows and everything. Brendan's got them available on the USB. In terms of, we've actually got 3 properties available. One of them is tenanted in Oklahoma at the moment. New build from the developer. The nice thing here is that there is 50% financing as well, and there's a management company. This management company, this is the company that's managing 3,100 homes. They've got offices all over the place. You can see here. And again, I've got a huge amount of respect for John Chin. He understands that this stuff is more important than actually finding the property in the first place. So just to run through Oklahoma, some of the highlighted points that John, the 10 top factors that he likes is that it's got less than 5% unemployment. It's got the lowest vacancy rates, currently about 2%. The property manager in Oklahoma has over 300 properties under management already. The population growth is trending 60% higher than the national average. It's got strong growing GDP, 60 billion for the MSA, which stands for Metropolitan Statistical Area. It's very landlord friendly. A question that hasn't been asked, which is a good question to ask, is America is very specific. So in California, it's tenant friendly. So what that means is that the rights of the tenant are better protected than the landlord. In Atlanta, in Memphis, in Orlando, and in Oklahoma, they're actually landlord friendly. But this one's the most landlord friendly. Like here, literally, even if the guy fights you, he's out within 3 weeks. Thanks for playing.
I like that. Coming from South Africa.
You've included in the insurance is $1 million of personal liability insurance as well. So it would cover them for that.
What's giving rise to the population growth in the city?
Oil and also the low cost of living, quality of lifestyle in terms of sun. You know, if you're living in the snow in New York, and then oil is driving the economy, which is driving jobs.
Yeah, so North Dakota and Oklahoma City both have a very similar thing where fracking is becoming, does everybody know what fracking is? But it's becoming very prevalent in those areas because what used to happen in the 1980s when they had a bit of a boom because of the oil, they dropped one well, and 1 in 10 had actually hit oil. At the moment, 9 in 10 they hit oil because of fracking, and which means they can access a lot more, and as a result, everything's going up. And it's also close to Texas, which is close to the Gulf Coast, which means they can export oil. So there's a lot of people getting drawn in for employment. At the same time, I think it's the second lowest unemployment ratio in the whole of the US. The only one that beats it is North Dakota at the moment with a 3% unemployment ratio. The whole of the US is only about 7.8% over there. So yeah, under 5% is actually very, very massive. They actually can't find enough skilled people, and that's what's drawing people in, which means they're paying them more, and that's why people can earn more, because there's skill shortage, so they're getting offered more money in order to come and live there.
From a micro perspective, it's Class A locations. As I said, it's that Piedmont is actually the second best area in the whole of Oklahoma. It's 15 minutes from the CBD, major highways, great schools, awesome demographics. For those of you who've been to America, you'll know that it's very quality up, educated white collar workers, and you're buying in suburbs. The builder that we deal with only sells 10% of the stock to investors, so it's 90% owner occupied, which for me is very important. Micro is new construction, so it's got a 10-year builder's warranty. It's all brick. You can see that from the prices, from the pictures. It's got international financing at 50% loan value at 8.25%, and the net return is between 8 and 9%. So it's generally a rent ratio of about 1% of the purchase price in terms of what you're looking at. So those are the fundamentals for me in terms of Oklahoma. Just before we